feeling exhausted, hopeless, or need refreshing right now, I'm going to share with you how we can be refreshed even when it seems like there's literally no way possible because of our circumstances and where we find ourselves in life right now. I'm Dr. Alicia Granholm of aliciagranholm.com, helping you thrive in your leadership and life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified every time I post a new video with relevant biblical leadership advice. Now, some of us are great at staying hopeful and hope-filled even in the most trying of times. Some people find it easy to remind themselves that God can do exceedingly abundantly more than they could ever hope or imagine, no matter their circumstances. Now, I think for the majority of us, we do need reminding of how it is that we can be refreshed and stay hopeful, especially in challenging times. So I want us to take a lesson out of the book of Exodus. If you don't know about the book of Exodus, it's a story about the journey of Israelites being freed from slavery in Egypt and then their journey as refugees in the desert. King of Egypt actually wanted to kill every single baby boy who was born, well, because he felt threatened by them. And it was during this time that Moses, who I'm sure you've heard of, was born. So while Moses is growing up, the Israelites were crying out to God to see them, to see their oppression, to see their suffering and their misery, and to save them. So God chose Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, out of their misery and out of their suffering, to a country where they would have plenty of room and there was actually really great land for them there. There's so much to this story of God saving the Israelites from a life of slavery and oppression to their life of freedom. And right now I want to focus on how exactly it is that God sustained them in the middle of a desert, because for most of us, we have desert seasons in our life, and right now might be a desert season for you. So a couple months into their journey, the Israelites start getting really frustrated and actually start longing for their slavery days in Egypt over their freedom days ahead, because honestly, they're getting super hungry and really thirsty. So they start crying out to God, and God hears them and provides manna for them to eat in the morning and quail for them to eat at night every day for 40 years. And then in chapter 17, here's where I want to pick this up. Verse 1, the whole Israelite community set out from the desert of Sin, traveling from place to place as the Lord commanded. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So they quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses replied, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to the test?" But the people were thirsty for water there, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to make us and our children and our livestock die of thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord answered Moses, "Walk on ahead of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink." So Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel. Did you see that? In the midst of the Israelites' journey, they are getting super frustrated with Moses for leading them out of Egypt, and frankly, super frustrated with God because why are we even here, Lord? Did you bring us out here to die? They're desperate and they're hopeless. And then Moses, in turn, gets frustrated with the people and frustrated with God. Let's be real. Because Moses is having to lead these grumbly people who are, well, literally ready to kill him for leading them where he has taken them. Out in the middle of the desert where there seems to be no way. So God says, "Okay, you go get your staff, grab some elders, take them with you. I'm going to go stand in front of you next to a rock. You tap that rock with your rod, and I'm going to make water gush out of it for people to drink and be refreshed." Here is God doing what God does best, doing for the people what they absolutely cannot do for themselves. Y'all, they were in the middle of a desert. There's no water. There's no food to be found in the middle of a desert. But God makes water gush out of this rock in the middle of the desert so that all the people could be drink, so that all the people could have their thirst quenched, so that all the people could be refreshed. So I don't know about you, but if you are feeling like you are in the middle of a desert and you are tired and you are thirsty and you are parched and you are hopeless, then here's what I know to be true. If God did it then he can do it again. If it feels like you are out in the middle of nowhere and you need God to show up, then go to God and ask God to show up. It's easy for God to make water gush out of a rock in the middle of the desert so that you can be refreshed. It's normal to feel desperate when our circumstances seem hopeless, even if we have experienced miracles in the past. So when we're feeling dry, hopeless, desperate because of God's seeming lack of provision or even abandonment of us, then we can remind ourselves of how God has provided in seasons past. Because God can do exceedingly abundantly more than we could ask or imagine according to his power working in us. Because I know that if God did it then, God can do it again. So friends, are you with me? I want for you this week to be completely refreshed in ways that only God can refresh us in the middle of circumstances that seem like there is simply no way. If God can make water gush out of a rock in the middle of a desert for the Israelites, then God can do it again today, no matter what our circumstances happen to be right now. So let me know in the comments below how we can be praying for you as a community. And make sure you subscribe, hit the like button so more people can see this video and be refreshed too. Make sure to share it with your friends. I'll see you next time.